Good day. This is going to be in regards to the new police chief, Captain Kifer. Well, I think it's Chief Kifer now. And why I believe he's incompetent and incapable of effectively doing the job he is apparently been put in place to do, unfortunately. I never really spoke with Captain Kifer, um, except for a phone call a while back. Well, what phone call was that? Why don't we go listen to this phone call? Because the interesting thing about this phone call is that they tried to have my probation violated last year for allegations pertaining to recording this phone call, and even made false claims stating that I said I recorded that phone call. Now, I never said I recorded that phone call. I simply stated that that the phone call was going on YouTube, and that I think it mentioned that it was recorded. Just because I said that it was recorded doesn't mean I recorded it, number one. So it's not, how do you say, you can't basically just assume that I recorded it because you know it was recorded. For all he knows, for all he knows, I was on a speakerphone, and that's how it got recorded. And somebody else that was in there with me recorded it, and not saying it was, not saying it wasn't. I'm not really going to go into the details, but I'm just getting all this ready. But case law in Maryland shows that it's lawful to intercept a communication in which the communication is on speakerphone, because that's the ordinary course of the phone's business. Speakerphone is a capability that the phone has, so anybody that overhears it while the phone's using the ordinary course of its business, it's not violating the law. There's case law in Maryland that shows this. You know, they did this stuff to me, and they didn't actually look into the case law. They just kind of made it up as they went, and it was wrong. And Kifer was partially behind this. So, you know, I made a video explaining a little bit ago. So here's the video, and this is just a summary. In a second, in a little bit, we're going to go listen to the whole call. But for now, let's actually look at this video, because this is a good part of why I have concerns about Captain Kifer. So let's go ahead and pull this up and watch this video. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so let's watch this video real quick. Okay, let's turn the sound back.
Yes or no? Or are you refusing to answer that question?
I am not. They may be recorded, but we do not review this as a recording, so this is not a recorded phone call. And
That you just said it may be, and then you said it's not. You just contradicted yourself, Mr. Kifer.
Mr. Kavanaugh, the city phone system does a recorded system somewhere in the system somewhere. We don't review those.
It says in your policy that you, the captains, actually have the right to review those electronic communications. It's in your own policy, Mr. Kifer.
I can tell you that we've never reviewed those phone calls.
Okay, so there's a problem here. He tells me that there's a recorded line in the system somewhere. Okay, number one, this tells me that they're recording me, or they could be, they know willfully and knowingly could be recording me without my knowledge or consent. Number one. Number two, again, I said recorded. They admitted that they recorded the calls and that there's possibly a record of them. However, they say they're not reviewed, so therefore they're not recorded. This is Captain Kifer, your new police chief. Well, HPD's new police chief. He claimed, the new police chief claimed that something wasn't recorded that was recorded because it wasn't reviewed. Your new police chief claimed, again, let me repeat, that something that was recorded was not actually recorded, even though he admitted that it was recorded because it was not reviewed, as if reviewing something has anything to do with whether or not it was preserved, recorded. Your new police chief, Captain Kifer. So again, this is It's not. I'm just not an angry, anti-police person. This guy legitimately is somewhat ignorant. Okay, next thing, let's go to Sergeant Barnett. Oh, we thought I forgot about that. Let's go to Sergeant Barnett. Well, actually, let's find the rest of this call so that we can go and mention Sergeant Barnett that way. I'm getting back to that now. I just gotta find it. Gotta find it. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Not here either for the city. Oh, hold on. Hello?
Hold on, let me.
What the hell? Somebody picked up and then hold.
Hold on, let me do this a little bit better, make it a little bit clearer.
Around here either for the city. Oh, hold on. Hello? What the hell? Somebody picked up and then went for a hold.
Captain Kifer.
Who is it? I'm sorry.
Captain Kifer.
Oh, okay. My name is Dustin Cavanaugh. You're probably familiar with me by now. I have been complaining for probably weeks now about online harassment. Posts made on other Facebook groups that are defamatory, harassing. Some of them are just straight up lies entirely. With the intent, their electronic communications is defined by law with intent to annoy or harass myself and my family. And I have been concerned that HPD has been, well, not only have they not really done anything to address it, they even used my legitimate complaint to try to do something else. I'm not sure what they were trying to do, but that was the other day, and that was the video that ended up on YouTube, because I'm not stupid, and I actually asked y'all to be honest with me and not bullshit me. And obviously, if Sergeant Bartlett and Officer Hellman are there, they're not coming to take my complaint. Also, it's proven by...
Just to state, I didn't know, I thought it was Sergeant Bartlett. It was Sergeant Barnett, though. At the time, I thought it was Sergeant Bartlett because I didn't know. Anyways, let's continue.
Lieutenant Wright's own email that wasn't his identity and purpose. Well, that was his purpose. That wasn't his purpose, rather. He gave his identity, but he didn't give his purpose. So he lied to me while he was there. To me, that's an ethics concern, that your police are blatantly lying to people and using legitimate complaints in order to try to accomplish some other ulterior motive. That is concerning to me, and I'm not going to, I don't work with liars. And now, I mean, literally, that's pretty much what was happening to me. I was being deceived. They thought it was too stupid to notice. And really all they had to do was be honest, and then they haven't helped me with anything. And even Sergeant Hall at the Sheriff's Department said, oh, it seems like HPD probably isn't helping you because of everything that's happened. So there's clearly other people on the outside that see a bias, even in law enforcement as well. So, I mean, I'm just absolutely tired of it, because it's my understanding the 14th Amendment grants me the right to equal protection of the law, in which that if I have a complaint, it should be taken as serious as anybody else's complaint, regardless of y'all's feelings for me or whether y'all like me or not. So that's where we stand now, and those are my concerns and issues.
Okay. Well, I'm going to agree to disagree with you on a few things. I've seen the emails. I'm kept in the loop on a lot of those, not all of them, but on most of them. And I know Sergeant Barnett personally, and I know that Sergeant Barnett was down there to take your report.
You can't lie to me, because I've already proved that that's not true.
Mr. Cavanaugh, I'm not going to get into an argument with you about that.
Oh, I'm not lying. I mean, I'm telling you that's not true, that your ethics are in concern now, because I can literally prove that right now, because Lieutenant Wright's email proves that's a lie.
Mr. Cavanaugh, I'm not going to stand and listen to you berate me about my...
I'm not berating you. I was disagreeing with you. Apparently you don't know the difference. Are these calls recorded, yes or no?
But you're accusing me.
I'm not accusing you. I can prove you're lying. I have the emails that prove you're lying.
All right. Then you can take whatever legal steps...
Okay, so mind you, I've told him I have emails that show that Sergeant Barnett was there, and then Lieutenant Wright told them about my complaint, which means he was there for some other purpose. Number one. Number two, he said that Sergeant Barnett was there for that purpose. However, after this video, let's look into the credibility of Sergeant Barnett, and Captain Kifer is taking up for Sergeant Barnett.
Are these calls recorded, yes or no? Or are you refusing to answer that question? That you
go ahead and take.
Are these calls recorded, yes or no? Or are you refusing to answer that question?
I am not. They may be recorded, but we do not review those recordings, so this is not a recorded phone call. And
That you just said it may be, and then you said it's not. You just contradicted yourself, Mr. Kifer.
Mr. Kavanaugh, the city phone system does a recorded system somewhere in the system somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We don't review those.
It says in your policy that you, the captains, actually have the right to review those electronic communications. It's in your own policy, Mr. Kifer.
Let's take a look at that policy. As a matter of fact, I have it right in front of me. Okay, here we go. This is that policy right here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, let's make that bigger. Okay. Let's take a look here. Well, first is use of computers and information technology. Well, in Google, what does it say that is? Information technology equipment is a group or family of product which include devices that have a primary function related to the collection, transfer, storage, or processing of data. Such devices predominantly generate a multiplicity of periodic pulsed binary electrical waveforms. Cell phones use binary, they use digital signals, they process data, so those are electronic communications. They've admitted to me, Lieutenant Wright has, that they do use their cell phones. And anyways, let's read this. So cell phone or phones used by the HPD, any equipment they use for communications or computer, or rather information technology. So let's look at this. Purpose. The purpose of this chapter is to establish policy relative to the use of departments' computers and information technology, including, but not limited to, again, information technology includes phones, electronic mail, the internet, departmental and city local area networks, information exchange networks, paging systems, electronic bulletin boards, voicemail systems, mobile data terminals / computers, facsimile machines, and other electronic messaging devices or systems. 2. Transmission of electronic messages and information on communications media provided for members of this department shall be treated with the same degree of propriety, professionalism, and confidentiality as written correspondence or public records. So, this can be shown that, number one, these are public records. Number two, it's not just including written data because it's comparing it to written data. So that includes like phone calls, any other voice communications. Responsibility for management, security, and access. The responsibility to monitor and manage the use of such technology falls within each division and the supervision assigned thereto. Overall management of departmental systems is assigned to the Support Services Administrator, who shall work with the city IT staff to establish procedures for the management and inspection of such systems. I believe that may be Mr. Nicewarner, Scott Nicewarner, head of information technology for the city, but I'm not entirely sure. Now is a big one. Employees are advised that they do not maintain privacy in departmental information technology equipment or its contents to include personally owned software. All forms of departmental information technology and their contents or transmissions are the property of this department. Any such files shall be subject to review and inspection by appropriate department supervisors. All department files, records, or communications shall be accessible to the captains and chief of police. You mean like Captain Kifer? And now Chief Kifer, or who, Chief Brito then, Captain Langston, all the people that kept saying that I was intercepting without consent, that were recording me, third-party interceptions, because it wasn't the other party on the phone, it was somebody else. It was the way they got their stuff set up. So, they're a bunch of freaking hypocrites. But anyways, and they got their information wrong, because they don't have an expectation of privacy. As a matter of fact, just because they don't review the communications doesn't mean they're not recorded, because obviously they are recorded. It just means Captain Kifer, who just got a promotion, was not doing his freaking job. That is literally part of his job, and he's not reviewing them. Well, guess what? If somebody were to do something wrong or is acting a fool on HPD's telephone lines and he's not reviewing them, then guess what? He's doing a horrible job as a leader and not doing anything to hold his subordinates accountable. And this is your new police chief. Okay? So again, this isn't just like random hateful nonsense. from me, this is based on actual events that have happened. Furthermore, I'm also aware of Captain Kifer and Cyrus Jagori, who's on probation now, mind you, who's a state prosecutor, having a conversation on March 12th in which I had a court date docketed at 10:30 in the morning, in which my probation was eventually closed because I'd already did the 60 days months ago and I wasn't supposed to be on probation anymore. The judge said this. Well, I was notified by my attorney that Captain Kifer thought, said something like, my attorney asked me, have you posted anything about killing police? And I'm like, not good police. I mean, not any different than I've told people to defend themselves and not to be scared of police who are unlawfully assaulting them or trying to kill them. But that's not the same thing. If this message, I think it was, my wording is always very specific. So ignorant, incompetent, illiterate folk are sometimes incapable of understanding what I am saying, and instead create their own meaning and then spread that as if they're ignorant, simple-minded, monkey-like primitive understanding is what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. They clearly don't. So don't spread what the fuck I'm saying until you know that's what I'm saying. Because that's what's happened with the courts, within this county, within the media, because of other people and their inability to properly utilize the English language, which is not my fault. Okay? Now, that being said, I stated that I don't understand why all of these innocent cops are getting killed and why all these people are killing these innocent cops when I'm well aware that there's a lot of crooked, unlawful, look what happened to the people, the corrupt cops in Baltimore just got 25, 30 years. There are corrupt cops. So I'm saying there's enough of them out there where instead of just going and killing random police officers who have done nothing wrong, because I would assume the vast majority of them have not done anything wrong, you could keep an eye out, and when you see a cop actually breaking the law and putting somebody's life legitimately at risk who's innocent and doesn't deserve it, and you're out in public and you've recorded it from beginning to end and you can prove it, and the cop can't lie and say, I was in fear for my life, and this person's life literally is in jeopardy, then I said, yeah, go ahead. If you got a gun, if you own it lawfully, then fucking blow their fucking head off, because they would use that excuse to you because they're in fear for their life. Well, if there's a cop, and this has happened, so it's not just making it up, that's holding somebody at gunpoint unlawfully and extorting them for money like a fucking mob boss, and this type of shit was happening in Baltimore, mind you, so it's plausible, and a bystander records it and has a gun, then I suggest a bystander, this is my opinion, you don't have to do it, but I think it would be useful if the bystander recorded it and plucked the fucking cop's head. I mean, it might cause an issue, but here's the thing. In that case, you got a recording, you got proof that the cop was breaking the law, threatening a man's life with a weapon and abusing, performing malfeasance in office. Okay, that's not the same thing as going up and shooting a random cop. As a matter of fact, what it is comparable to is somebody breaking into your home that's an intruder and trying to kill you, and you defending yourself with proportionate force to save your life. That's what it's comparable to, not killing random cops, as Mr. Kifer and the prosecutor were going to attempt to portray had the case not been dismissed, which it shouldn't even got that far to begin with, because the prosecutor should have known I did the 60 days already, because that's part of his job. I don't know how that got past the judge either, but it did. But the fact of the matter is, that kind of supports my notion that there's a bit of illiteracy, incompetency, and lack of understanding of the English language that's culturally integrated within this community, and that's an issue, and it needs to be addressed. Because the higher up shouldn't be so incompetent, they shouldn't be so illiterate, they shouldn't be so incapable of understanding the nuances of language. They should be able to relay what I actually said as I actually said it, and not have to lie or deceive people or twist it. I don't even know if it's intentional or if they're just stupid. I mean, either way, it's stupid, but I don't know if they're intentionally being stupid or they're just being stupid because they're stupid. I'm not sure which one it is. That being said, let's go back to Sergeant Barnett. So Captain Kifer's like, oh, I know Sergeant Barnett. Oh, you know him so much. Well, 3 months later, you know what Sergeant Barnett did? Let me show you what Sergeant Barnett did 3 months later. Let's do that. Let's bring it up. Okay? Let's bring it up. This is what he did. This is what Sergeant Barnett did, and this is the same person that Captain Kifer told me, oh, he knows why Sergeant Barnett was there. Well, this is what he did 3 months later, after I already accused him of being a liar, and they kept getting mad at me. Well, look what happens. Apparently, I had my mind in the right place. Hagerstown Police Sergeant accused of stealing pain medication from paralyzed woman. They caught this motherfucker on video. Hagerstown Police Sergeant has been charged in connection with stealing prescription opioids from a paralyzed woman. A freaking paralyzed woman. He stole from a paralyzed woman. Okay? This person that Captain Kifer said he knows and he was taking up for when I was telling him about him, trying to complain 3 months before this happened. Okay? He stole from a paralyzed woman. Okay? Barnett, 45, was charged in a summons with 1 felony count of distribution of a controlled dangerous substance. A summons! Why was he not arrested and thrown in jail? A summons means he was not arrested. What the heck? Okay, he is also charged with theft of less than $100 and 2 counts each of malfeasance in office and possession of a controlled dangerous substance, not marijuana. Okay? See, it says police said Barnett was arrested Thursday night in his home in Three Springs, Pennsylvania by Pennsylvania State Police. But yet, he wasn't arrested. He was given a summons in Maryland. This public servant lives in Pennsylvania, first off, which is a problem, but then he was given a summons in Maryland. A summons. For stealing pills from a disabled woman. A summons. Okay? Then he had court again. And got charged further, I believe, in a month or so later, with stealing more pills from, not the evidence locker, but it's something like that at the police station where they put old dangerous medication or whatever. And let's look at the details here. Court documents show that Hagerstown Police received a video clip on Thursday that showed Barnett inside a residence at the Potomac Towers housing complex on West Baltimore Street. A person in the apartment set up a camera behind some papers. In the video, Barnett is seen with a man and a paralyzed woman, lying in a bed in the living room. According to the documents, Barnett removed a medication bottle from his coat and tried to give the man some pills, but the man directed Barnett to put them in the woman's hand. The video cut off a short time later. Police said they interviewed the woman after seeing the video. The woman told investigators she was paralyzed in a vehicle crash and takes oxycodone and Oxycontin to control her pain and occasional muscle spasms. The woman said an officer, later identified as Barnett, came to her apartment earlier this week and started to ask about her friend's brother. The officer asked to come inside, the woman said, and eventually grabbed 2 pill bottles and started messing with them before he put them down. Documents show that after the officer left, the woman's friend checked the bottles and noticed that 3 oxycodone pills were missing. There were 7 pills in the bottle because it was filled for 7 days of usage. The woman called the Hagerstown Police Department and asked for the name of the officer who was at her apartment and stole her medicine. A few minutes later, Barnett showed up at her door. Think about this. How did that happen? She called the police and said a cop stole her medicine. So what did they do? For one, he found out clearly because he came back. And 2, why did they send the same cop that she said stole her medicine back to deal with the situation? And look what he did. Okay? Why were they ignorant enough to send the same cop out? The woman told Barnett she needed the pills and couldn't afford to buy more. Barnett allegedly asked what he could do to make this right. He then said he was going to leave and would return in about 15 minutes. While Barnett was gone, the woman's friend set up a concealed camera to record Barnett's next visit. The woman said Barnett came back and gave her $35 in hush money and 4 oxycodone pills that were more potent than the ones he allegedly stole, which we later found out he got that from the police station. The video footage was then given to the police. Brito said in a news conference that he chose to immediately release information to be transparent with the community. I am sickened by this betrayal of this criminal act, he said. I know in my heart and in my soul that the men and women of the Hagerstown Police Department serve HPD with integrity, and do so in a selfless fashion each and every day. Okay, well here's the thing. I complained about this man 3 months earlier. As usual, they didn't take me seriously. They treated me like shit, tried to violate my probation for that same phone call, and then 3 months later he stole pills from a fucking disabled woman. I'm not amused. That should not have happened. They should have listened. I was explaining to them that he was a piece of shit and he was a liar. Okay? But they keep, I don't know. They just do whatever the fuck they want, and this cronyist bullshit has been annoying. Okay? Furthermore, Viki Pauler, I didn't know that she was Captain Kifer's wife. I have concerns that those are 2 different branches of government. Viki Pauler is a judge, judicial. Captain Kifer is now the chief of police, executive. I have concerns that they may be relaying information, confidential information pertaining to cases to each other in a husband-wife capacity, and that may be creating an issue with the rights of people of this county, which, for all I know, could include myself, because, like I was explaining a little while ago, like the third-party information passing thing, it's like telephone. It's not. The information gets all misconstrued, and then it gets spread around, and then you got a high authority figure thinking something that's not even true because some other high authority figure told them. And in reality, these people did not understand. Viki Pauler, she got that position because nobody ran against her. She didn't like win a campaign, like fight hard. She literally had no opponents. So it's not like, the voters put her there, but they really didn't. She put herself there by being the only person on the ballot at the right time. So I don't think highly, I'll be honest, I don't think highly of the lawyers and judges in this area for the most part because of repeated violations of the U.S. Constitution and Maryland's Declaration of Rights that they didn't take seriously when I tried to explain them were violations, and then later on it came out that I was right when we went through courts and I explained everything. Again, people should just listen to me, as much as there's this misconception, this idea that I'm insane or like crazy or don't know what I'm talking about. That's not true. I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not insane. I'm not crazy. Well, not that crazy. And I do know what I'm talking about. So I implore you to actually listen to me and can consider what I'm saying and not listen to other people and saying what they think I'm saying or what they're saying I'm saying, because it's probably not what I'm saying. Why don't you speak to me? If you think that that somebody said something or that I said something and somebody else told you that I stated it, why don't you ask me personally if I said it and what my view is on it, so I can adjust that thinking? Because usually when somebody says something about me negatively and it's passed on to someone else, it's twisted in some way, shape, or form and is not the accurate representation of facts regarding whatever situation it is with me. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good day. And like I said, I will occasionally make videos explaining my stances, viewpoints, and issues I have within the community, within the locality, within the nation, sometimes maybe within the world. It just depends. But do not let third-party misinformation guide you in your understanding of me, what I'm about, my political viewpoints. And don't just think I'm an anti-government, hateful person that hates the police, because I'm not. I'm an anti-corruption, pro-citizen rights type individual, and that doesn't mean I'm against the government or against police. I think that rules need to be in place. There needs to be some sort of law enforcement. I just think that they do everything all wrong, ass backwards, that this country has become a slave-based nation in which the land of the free is the largest, the land of the largest incarcerated population of the world, and this includes the 1 billion population or so China and the large Russia. We have more inmates incarcerated than even these two nations that we speak negatively against that are not the land of the free. And again, we have 313 million people. China has 1 billion, yet we still have more people incarcerated than them. That's not correct to do things in 2018 in this modern world. But again, I'll make a video about that some other time probably, but I believe that is because I don't think the 13th Amendment ended slavery. I believe it expanded it to include a more class-based system in which poor people could be encompassed as well, of all backgrounds. So I believe it was changed from color-based, racism-based slavery to classism, monetary-based slavery, which created even more slaves to basically do everything for all these capitalist, rich, stuck-up fucktards that really act like they work so hard, but they sit in an air-conditioned office all day, really doing a whole bunch of nothing, making 100,000 times what their highest-paid worker that's not an executive makes. But anyways, like I said, that's a story for another time. Y'all have a good day.